Okay, so there is no inflation. They're lying to you. When the pandemic first hit, for the first few months of 2020 especially, every single company lost profits. They lost so much profits that they needed to put out there that we people, everyone needed money. No one fought harder for people to get bailed out than corporations. You heard me right. The stimulus checks that we all got, corporations fought for those because they know when you bail out the people, you're bailing out them too, because then that means they're getting a lot more money, because that's how it works. It's stimulating the economy. What happens when you have a very small number of corporations that control everything in America? An entire country full of corporatized monopolies that basically don't have to give a shit about whether there's any competition for them. Well, they push a narrative. They push a narrative that they need to make up for all the loss that they had during the pandemic, because they know that that was already a narrative that was in the news, that everyone was talking about, that all these companies lost money because of the pandemic. Thing is, they only lost money for a tiny little bit of time. Then, immediately afterwards, when we all started getting stimulus checks, their profits went sky high. They had never seen profits this high. In fact, this is record highs for every single market. Even, yes, gas companies, oil companies, they are selling gas to us for prices that are ridiculous when they don't have to. They have plenty of supply. We literally, 1 year ago, had so much oil, we didn't know how to store it. We were selling it to people, technically paying them to take it because we could not store it in our company or our country because we had so much. So why? You cannot tell me in 1 year's time we used all of our backup resources, so now we have to raise prices? No, this is simply the companies writing that narrative, and I mean every single company. We live in an oligarchy where all of these corporations are deciding to raise all of their prices under the narrative that because we were bailed out, now there's inflation and therefore our dollar's worth less. That's not even slightly accurate to the truth. There has not been any more inflation than what was already going to be inflation that we had predicted for 2022 back in 2018. As in, our inflation rate is exactly the same as it's been. This is not inflation. This is only price gouging by corporations that know they can get away with it because they're the only corporations that exist. Hell, what is it? There's like 5 companies that own all food in America. You got Kellogg being like one of them, and Nestle being another. They're lying to you. And the worst part is it's all about politics. It's all about this bipartisan bullshit. You have people in Congress right now who are fighting as much as they possibly can. As you can see right here, every single Republican fought against, they voted against getting you better rates on oil, knowing that there is plenty to go around. Sure, don't get me wrong, the war in Ukraine with Russia and all that, that has definitely steepened our ability to get oil. Except for the fact that Biden has literally tried to make deals with the oil companies over and over again to start getting oil here in America. And they keep rejecting his offers because they know they can create artificial inflation if they just keep pretending they don't have enough resource. So they can't start drilling here, because then that ruins the narrative. That ruins their whole plot to take more money from the people, knowing they're gonna get away with it. They can. They're just gonna scoot on by, because you know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen when our IRS, who is unfunded, who doesn't have the manpower to actually sue these companies, they're just gonna get away with it. That's the whole point. They're lying to you, and they're gonna get away with it. The prices on milk are rising. That is ridiculous. The prices on everything is rising. The thing is, you have to account for a lot of things with the economy. One of the most important aspects of price gouging is oil prices. Oil prices rise, and everything else rises with it. Every commodity. Because every commodity has to be shipped, and that shipping process costs gas. And if it's more expensive, so is that commodity. The thing is, though, there's no competition. And so when you have oil prices rising and all these corporations don't have any competition, they can just pretend that, oh, it's rising so bad that we have to raise our prices super high in order to make up for the cost. Meanwhile, they're making record high profits. I can't say it enough. They're lying to you. They're lying to us. This is not inflation. It's price gouging, and they're taking advantage of our misinformation campaigns that are going around in the news corporations as well. It's all basically tied together, especially since you have Fox News constantly reporting on nonsense inflation rates because they want Biden to look bad. That's another thing. The reason the Republicans are voting no on fixing all of these problems is because they just want Biden to look bad and the Democrat Party to look bad so that they can take control during the midterms. And then once they have control in the midterms, guess what? Now we can't get anything done ever. And so, because the gridlock is even worse than it already is, which, by the way, of course it's shitty right now and we can't get anything done anyways, but we can get some things done. Once they do that, once they get power in the midterms, we're screwed. We can't do anything because the gridlock is going to be too powerful. Why do you think, and I'm not even going to try and like debate whether Republicans are not evil. They are. The politicians are. The people, most Republican people are not evil. In fact, most of them are good people. They're just misled. They're misunderstanding the situation because they are fed misinformation. I don't have anything against the people. I have something against the evil politicians that are constantly pushing their bullshit, knowing very well they're lying. And if you don't believe me, please, all you have to do is look up their voting records. Look up what they vote on. And I promise you, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. They vote no on everything that helps people. They want nothing more than the government to fail us while any Democrat is in power. It doesn't matter who it is. It's not because it's Biden. It's not because Trump lost. It's because a Democrat is in power. And we could change things. We could make the world better for everyone involved. But when anything comes to go through Congress and finally change something, guess who stops it? The Republican Party. All of them. Every single member of Congress that's a Republican stops every bill that can actually do something for the people who support them. Half of the shit they stop is extremely popular among their base, but their base doesn't actually pay attention to what they're voting. Regardless of all that, back to the actual meaning of what I'm doing here. Please stop calling it inflation. because all it's doing is feeding their narrative and making them win and making all of us lose. Stop the narrative. It's the only way we can actually make it where they stop. Because it's not on us that prices are rising. It's on them. And it's time someone says something about it. I'm actually not the only person that's saying anything about it. I'm just going to put that out there. There are economists all over the place that are speaking out about this, but they're not getting very much of a platform among people like you on YouTube, online people. Most people like this that watch gaming content don't know anything about what's going on. So I'm here to spread the word. Also, hi. I don't usually make political content. This is a new kind of thing I'm going to be doing here and there on this channel. Obviously, this is not my main channel anymore. If you actually want to go see some like chill like gameplay and stuff like that, there's a link in the description below. My YouTube channel's name is GameBob. Might change that eventually. I don't know yet. But if you'd like to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. I've got a lot more stuff like this coming. Believe me, I have a lot to say. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye everybody. Click.